truth draws near.
Power trembles now.
Release the files. Every page.
Look at it glow. This will bring the whole house down.
Already coming down, sir.
The Epstein Reckoning, in theaters now.
In a stunning midnight reversal that's sending shockwaves throughout Washington, President Trump just called for the full release of all the Epstein files. After months of resistance, after calling out Democrats for weaponizing the issue against him, Trump dropped a Truth Social bomb. We have nothing to hide, he says. The Democrats thought they had him cornered with selective leaks, claiming about Trump knew about the girls. But Trump just flipped the script entirely. The House is getting ready to vote. The panic in Washington, D.C. is palpable. So what forced this sudden change? You see, this is the third rail of American politics, the one topic that makes everyone in power sweat. For months, Democrats have been weaponizing the Epstein issue, selectively leaking emails, just to damage Trump while protecting their own. They drop an email here, a quote there, trying to create a narrative, plaster headlines. But they didn't expect Trump's countermove. By demanding full release, he is exposing their game. So think about it. If Democrats really wanted transparency, why the selective leaks? Why not push for everything? Because full disclosure would expose their donors, their leaders, their network. Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, all named in these files. The establishment thought they could use Epstein as a weapon against Trump. Instead, he's turning it into a mirror that reflects their own corruption. Every delay, every game they've played is about to backfire spectacularly. And while the political establishment panics over hidden secrets, Trump just made another power move that is reshaping America's future. His administration released Executive Order 14241, naming Alaska's Palmer Project as critical to national security. Now, Vizsla Copper acquired this $3.5 billion asset containing copper, zinc, and silver, all vital for our military. When similar Alaskan miners got government backing, guess what happened? Shares jumped 200%. Now, Vizsla trades as VCUFF in the United States. It's led by the team that built Vizsla Silver into a $1 billion valuation. And with Trump prioritizing domestic mining for security, early investors could see some massive gains. There's a link down in the description. Get their presentation there. You won't regret it. Now, the Democrats' plan has spectacularly backfired. They leaked emails claiming that Epstein said Trump knew about the girls, thinking it would damage him. Another email mentioning Trump at Epstein's house. Classic Democrat playbook. Selective leaks, implied guilt, trial by media. But Trump's response was genius. Instead of playing defense, he went nuclear. Release everything. Now, Attorney General Bondi is investigating Bill Clinton's Epstein connections. Of course, we've all known about those. The House has the votes to force full disclosure. Democrats want to make this about Trump. Now it's about everyone. They opened Pandora's box thinking they controlled what came out. Well, guess what? They were dead wrong. Here it is. Manu Raju bumping into Speaker Johnson, talking about the Epstein bill, and Marjorie Taylor Greene asking him if he'll support the bill he's been trying to kill for months. Listen.
Get into the charitable provisions.
So I
also believe it is an entirely moot point because, as you know, the Oversight Committee is doing all their deliberate work. So
we talked to the president. Do you advise him to get behind it?
He and I talked about it quite a bit, but I'm not going to get into the content of what we said. But his statements speak for themselves, and he has nothing. He's never had anything to hide. He and I had the same concern that we wanted to ensure that victims of these heinous crimes are completely protected from disclosure, those who don't want their names to be out there. And I'm not sure the discharge does that, and that's part of the problem.
The president has called Franchi a traitor. She says that it's impacting her security and safety. Would you advise the president to stop calling her a traitor?
I don't, look, it's not surprising that the president was frustrated.
7 hours ago, President Trump in the Oval Office. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. Listen.
Bill, here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want is for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Here's what I want.
Clearly he sees it as a distraction, but he says release them anyway. Here he is 24 hours ago telling a reporter they're terrible and fake news.
Massey has pulled fake news like you. You're a terrible reporter. And fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
Clearly, President Trump, no fan of Thomas Massey. 9 hours ago, Tim Pool, Epstein, deep state, working with deep state politicians to go after Donald Trump. According to the Washington Post, Epstein was colluding with Democrats to obtain testimony in an attempt to destroy Trump. Let's check in real quick.
Hearing that this is crazy. Look at this video from the New York Times. This is nuts. This is absolutely wild. Newly released documents show during the hearing, Epstein was giving advice to the Democrats to go after Trump. The Post reviewed multiple video feeds from the hearing that matched the texts.
Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling...
This is a bit of an Inception moment, right? I'm playing a Tim Pool clip, and Tim Pool's playing a clip on his show. Sorry, couldn't help it.
...neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review?
Whoa.
Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
So in this video, you can see
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
this is massive, ladies and gentlemen. This just scratches the surface. But if this rabbit hole goes deeper, what we have is false allegations against Donald Trump, a criminal case that ultimately was brought forward for the first time in history with no unanimously decided upon crime Trump was attempting to commit. That is, it's complicated. And I have since corrected the record, though I'd call myself half wrong. The story is, as it pertains to the falsification of business records, for which this question is about in this testimony, the jury did not unanimously decide that Trump was actually trying to commit any particular crime, just that maybe there was some crime somewhere. It's never happened before that they've done this. And the only reason they did was because the charges against Trump, misdemeanor at best. Jeffrey Epstein, according to the Washington Post, was colluding with the Democrat to get this testimony, which ultimately led to a fake conviction. Sounds to me, ladies and gentlemen, we have a strong probability, should this rabbit hole go deep, Epstein, deep state, working with deep state politicians to go after Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. And just one more piece of the puzzle to try to shut down and destroy President Trump. Here's a reporter asking Chuck Schumer. Look at how rapid response. Look, they have the transcription of what he's saying on the tweet here on the screen. Reporter asks a question, and they have Chuck Schumer in the parentheses, moron. Okay, let's hear what this has to say. The reporter says, why wouldn't the Epstein files have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Biden was in office. Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there, why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there.
Yeah, Chuck. He just said release them all. Here it is. Here's the post. As President Donald J. Trump said, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. It is time to move on from this Democrat hoax. Here is the big block of text President Trump wrote on Truth Social. Lauren Lee posting a clip of Thomas Massie. Quote, I don't even know how to grasp how evil this is. She writes, this is true masculinity, stepping up to protect vulnerable women and children. Young men in this country need more role models like him. God bless Thomas Massie. Listen.
All this other stuff. Here, people say, well, why isn't it easy to come out as a victim? And when I was at this press conference with these women, the depth of the evil I didn't understand until they spoke it, which was as 14-year-old girls, they were told by a friend at high school, come over to this old guy's house, give him a massage, and you can make $200. By the way, he's got a nice swimming pool and all this other stuff. All you got to do is give him a massage. The massage turned into something else completely, and he had their phone number, and then through the shame of it, he compelled them to show up at his beck and call whenever he wanted. And this is where it gets really evil. The only way they could get out of it, of showing up and performing sexual favors for Jeffrey Epstein, was if they found another girl at their high school who would do it in their place. And so they were coerced into, and one of the witnesses, survivors, broke down in tears because she admitted, she just said, listen, I was faced with finding a girl for him to take my place or going back there and doing that. And I found another girl. And so what happens is now, people are still doing this, even after they know these are 15-year-old girls who were coerced into it by an adult man. They're saying, oh, you were a sex trafficker. You trafficked these women. But they don't, I didn't really fully grasp how evil this is. Like, it's one thing to do evil things to people, but to make them do evil things. And then once he causes you to be implicated, then you don't want to come out, because then that's what happens to you. Now, there are people asking, well, why don't these women release the names? And the reason is these are billionaires like that. So what happened is Epstein, once they got to the age of consent, they weren't exciting to him anymore. And he would traffic them to his friends. Now, so you might, at this point, they're going to say, oh, well, there were prostitutes. They were 18. They were age of consent. Jeffrey Epstein was giving them something. And then they did, sexual things with these men. And so what happens is those men who have billions of dollars, they had money to pay off police departments, to lose reports, to pay off judges. What they would typically do is they would, a lot of these girls were from families that weren't very affluent. The family would end up with $150,000 up to $500,000 of money, and the girl wouldn't testify. So basically, that's one of the things they would do. But now they would just sue them into poverty for defamation. And if you don't have the power that the government has to discover these facts, then you can't contest the defamation case well enough, and the process is the punishment. They basically go broke. Just
Thomas Massie laying out the whole plan right there. CNN 72 hours ago was forced to read President Trump's Truth Social post live on air. The one where he says he'll investigate Democrats' ties to Epstein, and their viewers are not going to like what they heard. Trump names like Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, and Larry Summers. CNN being forced to report the news. Representative Ro Khanna on Epstein. People who were there, who were on Trump's side, are now asking him, what happened to you? If Trump goes down this lane where he is actually calling to unendorse people like MTG, where he's threatening every Republican in MAGA, saying, if you support that kind of bill, you're not on my side. Well, he's actually not doing that, Ro. Senator Barrasso, Aaron Rupar writes, won't commit to holding a Senate vote on the Epstein files measure, and says, this is not about truth. This is about an attempt by the Democrats to make Trump a lame duck president. I'm not going to aid and abet that effort. This was never about Trump, never about justice. It's about Trump, clearly.
Do you believe, which is the big battle over the Epstein files, President Trump has referred to this as a hoax? Do you believe that it's a hoax?
Well, let me give you my take on this whole issue, because of course I want accountability. You want to make sure there's transparency. You want to make sure that the victims are taken care of. What you're concerned, and I'm concerned, is that if there is information out here about other individuals that need to be prosecuted, they need to be prosecuted. But what I saw Ro Khanna say is they want to make President Trump a lame duck president. This is all about him. I fully believe that had there been something here that the Biden administration could have used to go after President Trump the last 4 years, they'd have gone after him with double barrels. But this is
No, they just went after him in Butler. So here is Senator Kennedy. CNN's Cassie Hunt. Thomas Massie, if you vote to cover up, you've got to cover in the Republican primary, and he's essentially saying the president's going to help people who vote not to release the files. Well, he's going to release the files. End of story. There are at least 20 people in those files, politicians, billionaires, movie producers, who are implicated criminally who have not been investigated. Thomas Massie on ABC News.
What do you think is actually in these files? I mean, we've seen so much Epstein material, from the criminal cases, the stuff that just came out this week, from the estate. What do you think is left?
Yeah, I don't have to guess at what's in the files. I've talked to the survivors through their lawyer, and we know there are at least 20 people in those files. There are politicians, billionaires, movie producers who are implicated criminally, who haven't been investigated. And it's up to the FBI, not the survivors and the DOJ, to release those names, or at least to investigate them. And when I see Donald Trump announce a bunch of investigations, I don't see him going after these rich elites that are implicated in these files, according to the survivors.
What do you think is actually in these files?
So here's what the Democrats didn't count on: Trump's willingness to call their bluff. They thought selective leaks would keep him on the defense forever. Drop an email, create a scandal, control the narrative. But by demanding full release, Trump is exposing their entire game. If they really have evidence against Trump, why not release it all? If they really want justice, why the games? You see, the answer is obvious. Full disclosure destroys them and not Trump. He knows it, and they know it. And now America is about to know it. Now look, I'm sick of talking about Epstein. You're sick about hearing about it. We all want this chapter closed, but that's exactly why Trump's move is so brilliant. By demanding full release, he's forcing an end to this never-ending nightmare of selective leaks and political games. When Democrats tried to weaponize Epstein's crimes for political gain, Trump, he could have stayed defensive. Instead, he chose transparency. Release it all. We have nothing to hide. That's a quote. That's not what guilty people say. That's what innocent people who are sick of games say. The Democrats wanted a selective leak campaign to damage Trump. They got a full transparency tsunami. It's about to expose everyone. Clinton, Hoffman, Summers, they're all named. The establishment's blackmail network is about to be exposed, not because Trump's afraid, but because he's fearless. He's betting that sunlight really is the best disinfectant and the cockroaches are scattering. So, question, comments, conversation. Do you think Democrats will regret weaponizing the Epstein issue? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And while you're down there, find that link for our merch shop and support the network.